Hi, this video is an introduction to the specified practicals for Unit F 2.2, Rock Deformation. This video looks at the laboratory version of these practicals. Okay, let's go. The equipment you need for these practicals includes the F 2.2 practical booklet. This is one with the yellow cover. Make sure it's the laboratory version that you have. You're going to need a sharp pencil, a ruler, a hand lens if you have one. You'll need either a compass clinometer or an angle measurer. Certainly for the initial stages of this activity, an angle measurer or a protractor will be fine. A compass clinometer will be required when you're actually measuring the dip of beds. And you'll also need specimens C, O, and Q as examples of the rocks in this area. Okay then. What we're looking to do in this practical is to investigate the geology of an area. The geology is dominated by sedimentary rocks. There are three rock types that we find in the area. This is one of them. This is rock unit C. Specimen C is an example of this rock unit. This particular image has been taken at location 8, looking towards the northwest. You have a grid reference there, so you can locate exactly where this location actually is. We'll be coming back to this particular exposure of rock later. But you can clearly see from this that the rocks here have been deformed, they've been folded. And that's one of the aspects of the geology of this area that we need to investigate as part of this practical. The map is shown on page 4 of your booklet, but as you'll see, only some of the locations are actually marked on that map. The first job you need to do, and this is important to consider competencies 2 and 3, is to plan a field investigation that would allow you to determine the geological history of this area, both looking at the sedimentology and the rock deformation that are seen. Now we have already, by looking at this particular exposure, seen that these rocks are folded and also that they're sedimentary. There are two other rock units. This is rock unit O, and again, this is represented by a specimen. So specimen O is an example of this particular unit. Perhaps one of the things you need to think about is describing these rocks to work out what they are, what their features are, and from that then you can start to draw some interpretations about the sedimentary environments that are represented in this particular exposure. The third rock unit is rock unit Q. Specimen Q is taken from this rock unit. Okay. The first task to complete as part of this practical is to plan the investigation. I want you to imagine you were visiting the area shown on the map to investigate these rocks, both in terms of their sedimentary history and their deformational history. What data would you need to collect? Start out with a list of the data that you would need to be able to answer that question. You can then think about, for that particular piece of data, what equipment would you use? what kit would you need to be able to measure that or collect that data. The method then is how you would do that. Describe how you would collect this data. How would you make these measurements? And finally then, can you justify why you need that information? Why you're choosing that particular method? Draw up a table so you can divide this this table horizontally for the different types of data you want to collect. You might want to do a bit of a draft first. It's up to you. As part of any planning of geological fieldwork, we do need to identify any hazards that might be in this area. Think about the exposures of rock that I've shown you in these photographs already. Think about the locations where they are, and identify the hazards that geologists may encounter while they were undertaking this fieldwork. And then think about what risk controls you would put in place. How would you reduce the risk of those hazards in this area to allow us to accomplish this fieldwork safely? Once you have a plan, you can then start to work through the rest of the booklet, looking at the specimens and also looking at the locations. This is the base map we have of the area. You can see we've got 3 locations already marked. We have some grid references for some of these other locations. And we also have one location that we need to locate by a process of triangulation. Watch the additional videos to get an explanation of how we actually go about doing these. You then need to mark the position of each of your locations on your map. Key part of this practical is going to be measuring dip and strike. Now we'll need to do that in class, but you do need to think about the information you need to collect. In the page of your booklet that has this diagram, draw up a table to allow you to collect dip and strike measurements at each of those 8 locations. Think about what you need to record. Think about organising your work. Once you've got those measured, you can then start to add the information onto your map. But we're not going to be able to do that until we've actually measured these dips and strikes here in class. So, as the sun sets across another famous outcrop of rocks, similar perhaps to the ones we're looking at in this practical, you should be able to work on the preparatory stages up to and the measuring of dip and strike. We'll need to do that in class. Other than that, though, you can get your preparations done. If you have any questions, don't be afraid to contact me. I'll see you then.